Today I'm continuing my never-ending quest to be more organized in my shop, and I'm doing that by building a cabinet for my CNC room. I have 20 of these plastic bins that were part of the storage system for an old work truck I had. I'm going to incorporate these as the drawers in the cabinet, and then below them will be a couple of shelves. Now this is a shop project, so I'm not going to get too fancy with it. This is basically going to be a bunch of pieces of plywood cut up and glued together. That being said, there's still quite a few things to think about and consider when you're planning and building a project like this. So with this video, I will show some of the process of building the cabinet, but I also want to stop along the way and share with you some of the tips and techniques I use, and then maybe some of my thought process behind why I use them. And as I was about to make my first cuts for this project, I realized this was a great opportunity for tip number 1. It's all about plywood. Did you know that plywood has grain like solid wood does? I'm serious. Check this out. When you're building something out of solid wood, like this piece of walnut, you have to think about the grain direction when you're considering the overall look of your project, but also when you're deciding which tool you're going to use to cut it. You'll get better results cutting this walnut if you use different blades depending on if you're ripping or cross-cutting. And the same goes for cutting this plywood. Now, of course, plywood doesn't have grain exactly like a piece of solid wood, but what I consider to be the grain direction of a piece of plywood is however the veneer layer or the top layer is laid out. And if you flip this piece over, the grain runs the same direction on both sides. And this is true on every piece of plywood I've ever seen. So if you ever come across some wonky piece of plywood where the grain runs one direction on one side and a different direction on the other, I'd say look for a new piece. Now that we've established the grain direction on our plywood, how do you cut it? Well, first, you have to pick a side. So the first thing you want to do is look at your plywood and choose which side is best. And you always want your best side to encounter the blade on the down cut. So on a table saw, the blade spins this direction. So you want your good side face up. So as this blade spins, the blade will cut the veneer, and the veneer is supported by the wood underneath it, which will minimize tear out. Now with the grain of this plywood running in this direction, this would be considered a rip cut, and you're probably not going to get any tear out anyways. But if you have to cross cut this piece, you really want your good side up when you're using the table saw to minimize any tear out. But what if you get a little silly and you want to use a circular saw to cut your plywood? Well, just think of this as a table saw flipped upside down. So with the circular saw, you can tell by the teeth that the blade spins in this direction. So instead of having the good side up like on the table saw, you want your good side down, so as the wood is fed into the saw, the good side of the wood is on the down cut of the blade. Another thing you can do to ensure a nice clean cut is to choose the right blade. This is a 24 tooth blade designed for ripping. If this were a nice sharp blade, it'd probably be fine for ripping that plywood and give you a nice clean cut. But for cutting plywood with a delicate veneer on it, you're better off using a 60 tooth blade or an 80 tooth blade like this one. There are all types of specialty blades out there. They come in a wide range of quality and prices, but the general rule of thumb is the more teeth, the smoother the cut. It's a good idea to have a few different blades on hand for different types of cuts and different materials, and try not to get lazy and just throw a combo blade on your saw and call it good. It only takes a minute or so to change out your blade, and you're going to get much better results if you use the right blade for the right application. Like my dad always said, use the right tool for the job. So I have my cabinet all planned out and my cut list made. I'm going to start cutting up some plywood. So I got as many pieces for this cabinet as I could out of some scrap plywood I had lying around, but I did have to go buy a couple new sheets to finish off this cabinet and also for my next project I have coming up. And that brings me to my next tip, and that's all about planning. I have a small shop and this is a big piece of wood, so it's a good idea for me to have a plan as to how I'm going to break this down before I get it to my shop. So I've done this a few times, so I've kind of worked out a system where I clean off my table saw and my outfeed table. I put my piece of foam board down that I use under my track saw, and then I back my truck right up into the driveway and I just slide the pieces out of my truck right on top of the foam board here, and then I can make my cuts. And before I make the cut, I make sure I have enough power cord pulled out so it'll reach for the entire length of the cut. I make sure there's nothing on the floor that I'm going to step on or trip over. I just try to think about the little things and plan accordingly so I can make this cut safely. So I have all my pieces cut from my cabinet, and the next thing I do is I go through each piece referencing my design, and I lay out where all the grooves, dados, pocket hole locations, dowel locations, whatever type of joinery you're going to be using, I lay that all out on each piece of wood. On those layout marks, I'll also add some information that'll help me out on setup. For a dado, for instance, I will draw 2 lines for the width of the dado, and then in between those 2 lines, I'll write how deep I want that dado to be. Doing this layout doesn't take very long, and it's going to make setting up your machine to make these cuts a lot quicker. And also, as I'm going through and making these layout marks, I kind of build the project in my head, and it really helps me identify maybe calculation errors or any mistakes I made when I was doing the design. So taking the time to do this step overall will make your project go quicker and easier, and it'll really help eliminate mistakes. So I have all my dados cut, and I'm really close to being able to glue this up, but the next thing I want to do is a dry fit. I fit everything up, hold it together with clamps, and I make sure everything's going to fit the way it's supposed to. And it's a good thing I did this, because when I put this together, these 3 dividers here in the center were cut to 21 and 5/8 of an inch long, and they were supposed to be 21 and 3/8. So each one was a 1/4 inch too long, so I had to trim those down, and now everything fits just right. Another thing a dry fit allows me to do is to make sure things that I want to fit inside my cabinet actually fit. So I can take my plastic bins that I'm going to be using as drawers and make sure they fit inside the space they're supposed to. I can just place the bin inside here and then slide it up and down and make sure it's going to fit without binding or getting stuck. Here I'm making the runners for the plastic bins. I need 32 of these, but I'm going to make 35 or 36, so I have a few spares. Now when doing a repetitive task like this, it's easy to fall into a groove and lose focus. So be aware of that, and be sure to stay focused on the task at hand and work safely. A lot of injuries happen when people lose focus or become complacent. Alright, so I have all the supports for the drawers cut, and now I'm installing them. Let me show you a quick and easy way to do this so you don't have to mark and measure every single one. I have 32 of these to install, so I don't want to do that. Let me show you a better way. Alright guys, here is one of my divider panels. As you can see, each side of this panel will get 4 of these runners to support the plastic bins. Now I don't want to have to mark and measure every single location. Like I said, I have 32 of these to install, so I'm going to use a jig to make this a lot quicker and easier. So when I did my layout, I determined that the top of the first runner needs to be 27 millimeters from the top of the board. So I measure down 27 millimeters and I strike a line right there. And then it's just a matter of getting my first support installed right on that line. So I'll throw a little glue on the back, get it close to the line, and then use a square to make sure it is perfectly square. Right on the line where I want to be, I'm square, and I'll just shoot a couple pins in here. Actually, I'll shoot 1 pin and then double check it, make sure everything's good. With my second pin, that won't shift, and I can just shoot the ends. Now I know from my layout, I need 4 inches from the top of this runner to the top of the next runner. I know my runners are 1.5 inches wide, so I add another 2.5 inches to that to get my 4 inches, and I just cut a spacer to 2.5 inches. So with the spacer in place, I can quickly just apply some glue, get the ends lined up, hold this tight to the spacer, shoot my pins in. Pull this out and do the next one. And doing it that way is much faster than having to mark and measure every single one. So some jigs can get really complicated depending on what they're for. Some can be as simple as just a piece of wood, but they all will make your woodworking easier and more accurate. So you can call this a simple jig, you can call it a spacer block, you can call it whatever you want. I don't really care, but use it. You'll be happy you did. So the cabinet is all together and it's pretty much done. The only thing I really have left to do is to put a coat of finish on it, which is just going to be some wipe-on poly to keep it simple but durable. I did make 2 shelves for this space here. I'm not sure if I want to use both of them or just one, so I think I'm going to move this into the location it's going to be, figure out what I want on those shelves, and then I'll decide on the location. And to mount the shelf, I'm just going to drill some holes for some pins in the side so I can move them wherever I want anyways. The plastic bins are working out great. They fit just right. They slide in and out nice and easy, and they're going to provide me with a lot of storage that I'll be able to keep organized. So that's it for this one. As always, I hope you got something useful out of the video. Please remember to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you get notified when new videos come out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.